Well, it's that time of the year again when we turn the page from summer to fall. The fragrances I wore this past season definitely transported me to different vibes, whether it's sipping a sangria at a barbecue or just feeling like a South Beach patty. My fragrances had me covered. Come back and I'll show you my top 7 fragrance that I rocked with this past season, but you gotta come back. Come back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video of Smell Good with Jenna. I'm, of course, Jenna. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're into fragrance reviews, layering combos, and just smelling like you got your life put together, then you know what you got to do. Stay blessed, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it. You heard the intro. Summer is kaput. It's over and done with. We're moving on to my favorite season, fall. Even though I'm a summer baby and my birthday is in the summertime, I don't care. I love the layering. When it comes to clothes, coffee, tea, coziness, and the fragrances that work beautifully in the fall time, love it. But that's not what we're here for. We're still talking about summer. Still got a couple more days, and I wanted to discuss some of my top favorite summer fragrances that definitely transported me to different vibes, as I mentioned, and just made me feel good overall. So without further ado, let's get into my top favorite fragrances this past summer. First fragrance we have is Clive Christian's Crab Apple Blossom. If you saw my review, you know I only purchased this fragrance because this bottle is absolutely stunning. I love Blonde Amber and I wanted another fragrance from Clive Christian, so I decided my next one would be Crab Apple Blossom. But I'll admit, I was just scared to rocking this because looking at the notes, it's something I've never smelled before, and it's not notes that I typically gravitate to. But man, when I wore this is just pure luxury in the bottle. You have the marine sea notes mixed with the sweet note of apple blossom and the dry down with the velvety, creamy sandalwood. My goodness, just pure luxury. This put me back into my alter ego, Addison Montgomery, a rich socialite that inherited her 95-year-old husband Winston's wealth. Like, you're probably like, this girl is a little nuts. Not, but that's just the alter ego I have when wearing this. Just pure luxury. I'm on the yacht. I buy the finest things, and money is not an option. If you haven't already, check out Clive Christian's Crab Apple Blossom. Next up, we have from Lorenzo Pazzaglia, Sun-Gria. Now, if you know me, of course, if you've seen my videos, I love Lorenzo Pazzaglia fragrances. I fell in love with the house when I smelled Vampire Rum. Ever since then, I've been on this hunt to find the next top fragrance from the house, and I haven't quite found it yet. I enjoy some of the fragrances that I have a lot, but nothing really captured my attention until I smelled Sun-Gria. This just reminds me of everything that I love of sipping a sangria, just fruity and addictive. It just reminds me, I envision myself, you know me personally, during the summer and I'm going out to an event or something like that, 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, I'm throwing on a romper. I just love it's not dressy, but it is. So I can just envision myself wearing a denim romper at a barbecue or maybe a brunch, like an outdoor brunch picnic, and enjoying the summer vibes, sipping my sangria. When you think you have this figured out with the fruitiness and the booziness, then it comes through with the spices and then this creamy, sweet vanilla. Absolutely beautiful, unique fragrance that I could not get enough of this summer. So if you haven't already, check out Lorenzo Pazzagaglia's Sun-Gria. The next fragrance that had me in a chokehold this summer, City Rhythms Miami. The first time I smelled this, my first fragrance actually from this house was Puerto Rico. If you haven't seen my fragrance review video on Puerto Rico, make sure you check that one out. But once I unboxed this and smelled this, I was like, oh man, I think I'm cheating on Puerto Rico because wow, this one is literally nightlife bottled up. It's everything that you can imagine going to South Beach, Miami, and going to the clubs, the lounges. This is exactly what it smells like. You get the sweetness, you get the booziness, and then you also get the smokiness from the tobacco. It's just a stunning, stunning fragrance. It just reminds me of literally when I used to be in the clubs and the night scene. Just puts me right in that environment. So if you want to smell like a a South Beach baddie, then please check out City Rhythms Miami. The next fragrance we have is from Valentino Donna Born in Roma, the Gold. Now, if you're not living under a rock, you know that all the talk right now is going towards the latest It Girl limited edition, the Ivory. And we'll talk about that soon because I definitely picked that one up. But this one came out last season and there was a lot of hype around this fragrance, but not as much as what the Ivory is getting. But I'm a big fan of the Born in Roma line, so I had to smell this one. And when I smelled it, I'm like, yeah, I need to pick this one up. But with that said, this dropped late summer, early fall, so I just felt like this wasn't the fragrance that I was going to be reaching for during the end of last year. So I knew this would be perfect to wear this summer. I wound up, since I bought so many different fragrances this summer, this was like literally last on my list wearing. But man, I regret it instantly because wow, this is incredible. This is, if you're familiar with the Valentino Donna Born in Roma DNA, this has that to a T, but then you add the coconut note in here, which gives it that beachy suntan lotion vibe that's very popular. Gorgeous pairing. Just sweet, coconutty, and just all the summer vibes you can think of. So unfortunately, this is a limited edition, but if you can find this somewhere, definitely check out Valentino's Donna Born in Roma, the Gold. Next up, we have from Goldfield and Banks, Ingenious Ginger. When I tell you this was not on my radar, and this is the fragrance that made me a ginger believer, incredible. When I first got this, like I said, this wasn't even on my radar. I was interested in another fragrance from Goldfield and Banks, and I decided to sample both of them. I wound up not really caring for the one that I was interested in, but all hands on deck with this one. This one, my eyes popped out and I knew immediately I had to purchase a bottle. This is fizzy, sweet, spicy. It's just, I don't know how Goldfield and Banks does this. It's my third bottle from them and I love absolutely all their fragrances. I knew I had to get my hands on this, like I said, even though it was extremely hard to, just because this was very popular this summer and sold out almost everywhere, but I was able to secure the bag. So I'm sure you have heard of this, but if you haven't, please check out Goldfield and Banks Ingenious Ginger. Next up, we have from the House of Beau, Lamar. This fragrance I fell absolutely in love with when I smelled it earlier this year, and Toxic Me had to purchase it even though we weren't technically in the season for this fragrance. But I felt like, oh, I'm never gonna get this because it's gonna sell out and I gotta get this 15% off immediately from the house. So I wound up purchasing it and didn't even reach for it all summer until late summer. I think I was having a conversation with this group on Instagram just about the house in general, and when I said I fell in love with Lamar, I was met with not criticism or anything like that, but how people felt that this wasn't necessarily a unique scent. You've smelled this from other fragrances. I've never smelled this scent profile before, so I was just taken aback at how gorgeous it was. So maybe that's what kind of persuaded me into not wearing it, or maybe just because I had so many fragrances to rock this summer, it wasn't the first thing to reach for. But when I did, my goodness, you just have the C notes, creamy coconut, milky almond milk. It's just, this fragrance is beautiful. It's dreamy, it's magical, and unfortunately I waited to the end of the summer, but it definitely stole my heart. So if you haven't already, please check out from the House of Beau, Lamar. And the last fragrance from my top fragrances for this past summer, we have Tiziana Terenzi's Cassiopea. I kind of fell back on this house just because I have 3 fragrances, or I did have 3 fragrances, but one of the fragrances that kind of turned me off was D-Lock. So it left a sour taste in my mouth, so I wasn't too excited to reach for Kirke or Cassiopea this past summer. But you know, we buy fragrances to rock, so I went through all my fragrances, one of them being Cassiopea, and man, it instantly reminded me why I fell in love with this fragrance. I'm such a huge passion fruit fan, whether it's the fruit or the actual scent. I love, and with this, it's not like your overly fruity passion fruit fragrance. Instead, it's soft, it's creamy, it's fluffy, it's just absolutely beautiful, and just reminds me of calm vibes during the summer. And I layered this with quite a couple of fragrances, and it just made me fall in love even more with this fragrance. So I'm glad I didn't give up on this just because I disliked one of the other fragrances I had from Tiziana Terenzi. So if you haven't already, please do yourself a favor and check out Cassiopea. And that's my video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what was some of your top favorite fragrances this past summer. I know we're excited to jump into fall. I know I am. I did damage when it came to my fall haul that we'll discuss very shortly. But let me know what fragrances you were rocking and enjoyed this summer. Stay blessed. Like, comment, and subscribe. And always remember, the best compliment one can get is that you smell so good.